Hello guys and welcome back to Happy Freak Friends. I'm Chris X and we're playing again Elder Scrolls Online, awesome builds, and this time we have a new build for a tank for obviously new players, and not only new players, but new players I think will find this more useful, and I hope whoever wants to follow this build will not regret it. I believe that he won't regret it, he or she won't regret it, because it's a wonderful build for tank. So let's get to it. We will go, of course, with all the details, the race, the Mundus Stone, the traits, the gear, the skills, and the stars. So let's begin with the race. For a tank, the best race is Nord, Argonian, and also the one that you have to purchase, if you want, of course, the Imperial. These are the three races that I recommend. I believe that most of the players who actually play this game recommend are those three races. So I go with Nord because of the resistances. The class that we're going to use for this build is gonna be the Dragon Knight. It has many skills that you will like to have during a battle as a tank, so you will see later the skills. So yeah, we're going with the Nord and a Dragon Knight. For the Mundus Stone, we will go with the Atronach because we will need enough Magicka recovery to cover all our needs or our skills in order not to run out of materials. Of course, we don't have only Magicka recovery, we need also stamina recovery for this tank build, because half of our skills need stamina, the rest needs Magicka. For the champion points, the CP, obviously the crafting ones are not necessarily to be distributed in the same space, so you go ahead and choose whatever you want. It's up to you. You want more money, you want more better quality treasures, it's up to you. For the fitness ones, we will use the Boundless Vitality, which will give you more health, the Fortified, which will give you more armor, the Rejuvenation, which also will give you more resources, recovery, and we will go also with the Survival Instincts. And for the Warfare, we're gonna have to come to the Cleansing Revival, so we will have to put points here and there in order to unlock the Cleansing Revival. The Unassailable, the Duelist Rebuff, and now for the last one I have Riven Blows, which is pretty useful, but you can replace it, because when you deal direct damage you heal for 7% of the damage done. I make a little bit of damage, that's why I'm using this. If you don't want it, you can replace it by Ironclad. Now for the gear. There are plenty of sets out there that you can acquire easily or in a more hard way. I would recommend a few. I will show you what I have. So first set that I'm using is the one from the Imperial City Prison, which is the Leeching set. I know that many people do not recommend this set, because there are many other sets out there that you can replace this. It used to be one of the best sets, but now many people don't recommend it. I still use it, to be honest. I like that it makes this poison damage to many enemies, which heals you afterwards for the damage that you have caused. It means that if there are many enemies at the same moment attacking you, all the damage that you will throw back to them, it will be regained as health back to your character. Of course, if you are playing just against the boss, which is of course the most important, this set doesn't give so much so many buffs. It's better to replace it. So you can go ahead and replace this set that you can get again from the Imperial City Prison. You can collect it pretty easily. The set that you can replace Leeching with are two that I could recommend. The one is the Ebon Armory set, which you can get from the Crypt of Hearts 1 and 2 dungeons pretty easily. Also you can farm this one. Otherwise, if you don't want to use either these two, which are easy to be obtained, again, I repeat, because there is another one which you can get from the Dread Cellar dungeon, is the Crimson Oath. Is an amazing set. I would recommend this instead, but it's not that easy. You have to purchase the dungeon, the DLC, the Waking Flame DLC. Otherwise, you can go with the other two sets that I've already mentioned. Now for the second set that we are using is gonna be the Eternal Warrior. A very powerful set, which also helps you if you still new player and you will fail many times, you will forget to taunt or whatever. whenever you fall down to 25% of your health, it gives you an enormous boost of health, so it's like it gives you another chance. This set can be obtained by all the trials that they are located in Kraglor, which are the Helra Citadel, the Etherian Archive, and the Sanctum Ophidia. Those are the most the easiest trials, so even if you will be 160 CP, you can go and try and compete. It's pretty easy dungeons, trials, especially normal. So go ahead and obtain this one pretty easily. The other one that you can replace this with is going to be the Yolnacrene that you can get from NSS, from the Soundspire trial, which you can find in elsewhere. It's a hard trial for new players, so that's why I recommend this one instead. And for the monster set, we are going with the Lord Warden, which is a very hard to obtain monster set because you have to finish the Imperial City Prison in veteran mode. So obviously, if you don't feel ready for that, you can replace the Lord Warden with the Bloodspawn. Bloodspawn is a pretty easily to be obtained monster set, which you can get from the Spindleclutch 2 in veteran. So you can finish it quite easily. And Bloodspawn actually increases your ultimate regen, and it also increases your overall resistances almost permanently. So it's a very good starter set. You can go with the Bloodspawn again. Later on, it's better to acquire the Lord Warden. As a last piece of this armor, because for the front, I already mentioned that you will use the sword and shield from the Leeching set or any other set that you will use. If it's going to be the Ebon, those are going to be Ebon sword and shield. If you're going to use another set, obviously they're going to be accordingly. Now for the back bar, you can go again with the sword and shield. If you don't want, many tanks are using the frost staff, so you can go also through the destruction staff line for a few skills. So back here you can put the sword and shield again from a set. I'm using the Asylum that you can get from Clockwork City. You can go for any other one. You can go for the Frost Staff if you like, from the same set that you're using on the front bar. It's up to you. I prefer to stay on the one-handed skill line. Now let's go through our skills. We're gonna start with the back bar and we're going to follow the front bar. So for the back bar, we will start by having, in my opinion, is very important to have always the Sanguine Altar. It's the first skill that you can get from the Undaunted. It's pretty easily to be unlocked, so unlock the Blood Altar and transform it into the Sanguine Altar. This one will give health to all your teammates. You just place it down, you just sacrifice a little bit of your health, but that's not even visible, and you continue your job. Next one, we will use the Protective Plate. This comes from the Draconic Power, and it reduces damage from projectiles by 50% for a few seconds. The next two skills that we're using protect not only you but also your teammates. The first one is going to be the Bone Shield, which will be morphed into Bone Surge. And this gives damage shields that absorb up to 15,000 damage for 6 seconds. And also an ally can activate the Spinal Surge, and they can get a damage shield that absorbs up to 30% of their max health for 6 seconds, and also give Major Vitality. And next skill is coming from the Earthen Heart. It's going to be the Igneous Shield, is the morph of the Obsidian Shield. So again, your teammates will absorb 4,000 damage, and you will get a big 10,000 damage absorbed. Of course, this always scales off with your max health, and also you gain some major mending, which is the Healing Done, which you can get by using the Sanguine Altar. Last skill that we're going to use, apart from the ultimate, on the back bar, it comes again from the Undaunted, and it's a taunt skill. We need one taunt skill on each bar, so for the back bar we have one that costs Magicka. It's going to be the Inner Rage, and on the front bar we will have a different one. And the most important, of course, is a little bit hard to obtain, but not terribly hard. is going to be the ultimate of the Azul skill line, which is the War Horn. An amazing skill, amazing ultimate, which you will just morph into aggressive horn, and this one increases for all your teammates the max magica and the max stamina, and also all your allies gain major force, which increases their critical by a whole lot of 20%. Amazing skill, is a must to be always in any tank build, in my opinion. Now for the front skill line, here we have a few skills that they can be easily replaced by others. I'm gonna let you know which others I mean, but I'm using those ones. So first skill that cannot be replaced and must be used at all times is another taunt. The front bar taunt is the easiest skill to obtain. The first, the puncture that you can get from the one hand and shield skill line, and you will just morph it into pierce armor. Apart from the taunting, that's obviously it's important for a tank, it also inflicts minor breach and major breach, which reducing the physical and spell resistance of the enemies. Next skill that I'm using and can be easily replaced, I'm using the Engulfing Flames. You don't need it, you're a tank, you don't need to make a whole lot of damage. You can replace it by the Fiery Grip. So you can pull the enemies towards you. Of course it doesn't work with bosses, but as soon as you will hit the enemy, it gives you major expedition, so your movement speed is going to be a lot higher. Next one comes from the one hand and shield skill line again, and is the Absorb Missile. A very powerful damage shield that you will need for most of the times to have it active. Another skill that we are using, and probably you don't need it, is going to be the Green Dragon Blood. Obviously when you will be in a group, and of course in a trial, there are going to be healers around, so you don't need self-healing, but I always use it just in case. If you would have seen my other builds, you can understand that I try always to keep a self-healing skill just in times that a healer won't be nearby. But also this one gives you major fortitude, major endurance and major vitality, which increases your recoveries. So it's up to you. You can replace it by another skill. For example, the Heavy Armor skill, which is the Unstoppable Brute. Of course, this one is a little bit tricky because it might give you resistances for a whole lot of 20 seconds, but it makes you very slow. It reduces your movement speed by 65%. This is a lot. This is a terrible decrease of your speed. But you gain something to lose something else. So this is another skill that you can replace the self-healing with. Last skill that I'm using with this build is the easy to be obtained Spiked Armor. You will make it into Hardened Armor. You will morph it like this. So you gain major resolve, increases your resistances again, and you make also some damage. And last skill, the ultimate one, can be used whenever you feel that you are low in resources or your health is low, or generally that you need to be protected at all means at the moment. It comes again from the one hand and shield skill line, and is gonna be the Shield Discipline. This skill gives you a block at all attacks for 8 seconds, and your one-hand and skilled abilities cost nothing. So you can go and use the Pierce Armor and the Absorb Missile at all times. You can just spam them there. It doesn't matter, you will not use any resources, any stamina for that, as soon as this skill will be active. If you don't care about this kind of skill and you play only for the team, you can replace that with the Magma Shell. Because when this is activated, all your nearby allies gain a damage shield for 100% of their max health for 12 seconds. You can replace that if you feel that you're confident enough and you don't need to protect yourself. Go with the Magma Shell instead of the Shield Discipline. But never replace Aggressive Horn. So let's go and check the rotation of this build. Now for the rotation, you will have to start with the back bar, using the shields, that is for the team as well, not only for you. The taunt, obviously, You have to leave the altar, and now we have to go to the front bar to use the rest of the rotation. As a reminder, the ultimate on the front bar is for us, so we can use our skills without spending materials, and also to have always the shield in front of us. Make sure always that your altar is placed down, so the team that you are with will take all the time health as soon as they will need it. And also, if you will be in need of health, I doubt that you're gonna be, to be honest, especially in a trial or in a dungeon, you will have a healer. So obviously the green dragon is not gonna be necessary. You might need to replace that. And for attack we have the engulfing flames, which is also not necessary to have it. As you can see, the rotation is pretty simple. Our warrior here cannot fall, he's very powerful, and also because of the set of the Eternal Warrior that we're using, even if he will fall to 25% of his health, he will have immediately almost 20,000 health. Never forget that all the time, at all times, the boss needs to be taunted. And of course, as soon as you will be in the group, you will have to use the War Horn, which is a wonderful, to be honest, a wonderful ultimate. Really necessary for every tank. A little bit hard to acquire, but eventually you will get it. So that was the build for today, guys. Obviously, if I have forgotten something to mention and you might like to ask, please go ahead. This is my favorite build for tanks to play with. Of course, there are many other combination of tanks and also races, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, except for the Nord is also the Argonian and the Imperial, so you can go ahead with those. Imperial is also a very powerful race for tank, but you will need to buy that. And as we have seen from the rotation, is pretty simple. Of course, again, you can replace a few skills, especially from the front line. You can replace 2 skills, but generally it's pretty simple and very, very effective. So if you liked the video, guys, please leave a like and let me know if you liked the build, if it helped you, if you knew about this build, or if you're a new player and you're trying to find out what's better for you. So, as always, I was ChrisX, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye!